I grew up with a great imagination too. As a kid, bed covers were the cockpit of a fighter jet, and I used to dogfight for hours. I also used to cover cassette tape boxes with paper, draw Game Boy controls on them with a display window cut out, and then cut out screenshots from C64 magazines. Commodore 64, what's he doing? Yeah. And stick the screenshots on cards to be the cartridges. Yeah. You would slide the cartridge in the top so that they lined up with the display window, and bam! I could have any game that was in the magazines without buying it. Dude, you're bringing up some really nice memories, man. My friend had a Commodore 64 across the street. His name was Dave Fletcher. Let me tell you about Dave. He was stingy with the Commodore 64, man. He's the only one in the neighborhood who had the Commodore 64. Got the Commodore 64. Every once in a while, we'd get to go over and play it. Usually, we'd all play outside together. And one day, I got a Swiss Army knife for the first time. My dad told me, you can't get the Swiss Army knife because you're going to hurt yourself. I said, Dad, I promise I'm going to be responsible with this Swiss Army knife. Nothing is going to happen to me. For weeks, I told him nothing was going to happen to me. Don't worry about it. I'm okay with the Swiss Army knife. My dad said, you're full of crap. You're going to hurt yourself. Nope, I won't. We got the knife. Great. Got the knife, put it in my pocket. Across the street at Dave Fletcher's house. Fast forward. Dave says, I know you got a pocket knife. Swiss Army knife. I said, yes, I do. He says to me, well, if you want to play some Commodore 64, I want to see your pocket knife. I'm like, dude, I can't. I have to be responsible with this. My dad told me I can't give this to anybody. It has to be, but that allure of the Commodore 64, that allure. The pocket knife was trembling in my pocket like the Lord of the Rings. It was like the one true ring, the one in darkness that will bind you, and in the darkness bind you. That ring. The true powerful ring quivering in my pocket. I held on to it tight. I didn't want anybody else to hold on to it, but yet the Commodore 64 called out. It called out so powerful. I gave him the knife. He opened it up, and when he gave it back, he closed the blade, sliced my finger, still got the scar on my knuckle. Damn it, Dave Fletcher. Went home bleeding and crying. I was a little kid. Had my knife, blood all over. All I wanted to do was play the Commodore 64. You understand? All I wanted to do was to play the Commodore 64. I come running inside. I said, Dad. Come on, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, Dad. My dad took the knife. We had these woods. Backyard back in the 80s. 80s woods. Not just like your normal woods. 80s woods. You could never find anything in these woods. You got lost in these woods. You had to make paths in these woods. After you made the path in these woods, 5 days later, there'd be like vines and stuff growing across these woods. You understand what I'm saying? Poisonous berries everywhere. You can't pick those and eat those. Half of those things I ate, oh man, I'd be comatose. I'd be down and drooling. Didn't know what kind of berries I ate. 80s berries. 80s berries in the 80s woods. And my dad looked at those 80s woods. He got that knife. Took that pocket knife. Took it straight from me. Bleeding and all. And my dad took it and he chucked it. He chucked it into the never-ending woods. You could never find anything. You could never find anything in those woods. I swear to this day, back in those woods, there's still like a 6-pack of Coke that I hid back there, like a pirate and his treasure. I think I buried it somewhere trying to hide Pop. That was a big deal back then. Threw that in there. Could never find that knife again. Trust me, I went back there and looked even though I was supposed to. And he looked at me and said, son, you ever go back in there, I'm going to whip your ass. 80s whipping ass. You know, they weren't afraid to whip ass in the 80s. In the 80s, they would whip your ass and not even think twice about it. There wasn't any political correctness. They didn't worry about political. They were correct because they were your parents. There was no politics involved with parenting. You just did that. And that was the way you corrected things. And you know what? It worked. There's something to be said about that. My ass got whipped as a kid, and I stayed in line. I turned out okay. My dad was right. Now that I'm older, yeah, my ass should have got whipped on numerous occasions, and he held back many, many times. This time, just threw that knife away. He took it, put it in front of my face, threw it out there. Like we're talking professional baseball from right field to home plate throw. This thing was an 80s throw. In the 80s woods. You understand? And I never saw that knife again. And a lesson was learned that day. The lesson I learned was Dave Fletcher was an asshole. Today's video has been brought to you by the generous patrons of DG360 who make continued content possible. DG360 patrons enjoy monthly giveaways like Star Citizen packages, Steam gift cards, and any game that you want giveaways. Please consider donating $1 if in any way you enjoy DG360 content. And these difficult times where independent content creation is under attack from the FTC and left to die by YouTube, it's nice to know that I'm appreciated. Thank you.